But from 2009 to 15, first they ignore you. Bunch of nerds and geeks playing with your funny magic internet money. Who cares? Then they laugh at you. So 2016 to 21, look at these nerds and geeks playing with their magic internet money. Then they fight you. So right now, probably for the next 5 or 6 years, the banks are going to fight because this is real money, billions of dollars is leaving the traditional financial services world and migrating into crypto. A really interesting dynamic. Everybody's all excited about dollar strength and, talking about the king dollar's back and not so much. I mean, it's the least bad of all the major currencies, but all the major currencies are devaluing at a rapid clip against stuff, right? Against gold, against Bitcoin, against tangible assets. And really what's interesting is the two currencies that everybody loves to hate, right? The renminbi and the ruble are actually pretty darn strong. Now the renminbi has been a little shaky the last couple of weeks, but over the last couple of years, renminbi is stronger than the dollar. So yes, the DXY, which everybody focuses on, we're the king. The dollar is better than the yen, which is just being obliterated by crazy Kuroda-san. Kuroda-san, he has no choice but to obliterate the yen. That is their only way out. They can't pay back the debt. They can't even service the debt. They're headed for a debt jubilee probably. So the yen has to be destroyed. But the euro has just been massacred as well. Most people don't focus on why was the euro even created, right? The euro was created to be a crappy currency. And I mean crappy in a technical term, right? It was created to be a bad currency. Well, what do I mean by that? Well, Germany is a mercantilist, right? They make stuff, cars, machine tools, and they sell them to the rest of the world. Well, if you're a mercantilist, you don't want a strong currency like the Deutschmark. You want a weak currency. You want toilet paper for currency. So then you can sell your stuff really cheap and dominate markets like China. And so that's why they created the euro. And, there's a bunch of Deutschmarks in a vault somewhere, happily waiting for the day that they can come back, but they're not going to get their time in the sun. Because if I'm the head of the Euro Commission, I want all the crappy countries, again, technical term. I want all the worst countries with the worst currencies and the worst economies to join up in the euro to thrash the euro lower and lower and lower so I can sell more stuff. The problem is money printing. Money printing has gone ballistic. Now it's less ballistic in the last 6 months than the previous 18 months, but that previous 18-month period, post-COVID lockdown, and look, I'm a firm believer, Francis, that the COVID weaponization, right? We took a flu virus, we weaponized it to make it something scary,
yes.
And then we made these policy errors to lock down the world. In history, right, there have been 775 paper currencies in the history of the world. 3/4 of them no longer exist, right? They went to zero through money printing. And so the only money, right, actually only money in the world is gold. And money is an asset that exists in the absence of a liability. Everything else is just debt, is credit. And when governments get indebted, they have 4 choices. They can pay it back. Well, you can't do that, right? If you taxed all the wealth of Americans, you couldn't cover our debt. And Japan's worse and Europe's just as bad. So you can't pay it back. So then you can restructure it. But to restructure debt, someone's got to take the other side. Someone's got to take 70 cents on the dollar. And Chinese and Russians won't even buy our debt at $1, let alone 70 cents. So that's not going to happen. You can default on it. Oh, no. If you default, then you're out of power. And people in power like to be in power, so they don't default. So what do? You inflate it away. And you inflate it away by printing more of it. So that's a long answer to, I hear people talk about dollar strength. To me, it's less weakness. So technically, I guess that's a form of strength. That has been the plan, right? The plan was kicked off in 1913. with the creation of the Fed. And the Fed was modeled after the Bank of England, which was modeled after the Bank of Amsterdam, which was created by the Rothschilds to finance war and to consolidate wealth at the top through theft, through inflation, right?
Correct.
That's what inflation is. It's theft from the masses to the few. So you have this problem that you kicked off this plan in 1913. And then in 1933, you accelerated it by banning gold. You made it illegal to own gold in the United States. And then in the 70s, you did the final death blow and you went off the gold standard, went to a fiat standard, and you made it legal for people to own gold again. But you basically said that I can print money now at a whim by fiat. And in so doing, you set us on this path to where we are today. And what's an entitlement? An entitlement is a promise you make to yourself that you don't fund and you ask your kids to pay for. Who wouldn't vote for that? I would vote for that 10 times out of 10, of course. It's money for me, free, and I don't have to pay for it. I don't see a total end game, but what I do see are innovations on the fringes that allow a portion of us to opt out and protect some of our assets. Right? People have been doing that with gold for years, silver. Now you can do it with Bitcoin and other assets where we're taking this monetary element of commodities, right? Commodities are commodities, right? We use them for stuff. But some commodities also have this monetary use. And that monetary use is really important because we live in a world of money illusion, right? Stocks seem to be at all-time highs. You know, houses seem to be at all-time highs. But that's because we denominate them in devaluing assets. You look at the S&P 500 in the United States, it's dead flat in gold rather than dollars since 1996. Like, what do you mean it's dead flat? Because all of the growth is just a devaluation of the currency we denominate those assets in. Reserve currencies don't last forever. Empires don't last forever, right? Every empire, everyone has failed eventually. And they fail for the same reasons. They fail because they get concentrated at the top. You know, cronyism replaces capitalism. They become collectivist and they become appease the masses. They get over indebted and they collapse and they disappear. Whether that was the Roman Empire, the Ottoman Empire, the British Empire. Think about this. The Netherlands was the world reserve currency for 70 years. And then England, right, but then in 1913, interestingly, same time as the Fed was created, London, or the UK, invaded Mesopotamia, incurred massive debts, the pound sterling collapsed, the dollar ascended. Now it took 30 years, from 1913 to 1944, for the dollar to become the new world reserve currency of Bretton Woods. But here's the thing. It was all based on naval superiority. Well, I believe that a decade ago or so, pick a number, what the Chinese figured out was the next war, it's not ships, it's chips. That now in the digital age, it's about cyber superiority. And 96% of AI citations this year will come from China, 5G globally. And so they've quietly amassed this power structure. And now they're not so quietly, I think, weaning the world away from dollar hegemony with a plan to become the world reserve currency. Why does crypto matter? Because crypto establishes trust, right? Blockchain technology establishes trust for the first time, breaking away from the cabal for 800 years. And look, 800 years is a long run. They should be happy they had the run of the banking and trusted third party. Pharma could be a secondary, financial engineering piece of that. But the banking trust came from, in the old days, I lent you money. Okay, Francis owes me $100. You come back with $110. Oh, you know what, Francis? you owe me 220 because I'm untrustworthy. I wrote down Francis owes me 200. You had to trust me that I didn't write down the right amount. For me to send you money, I have to have a bank account. You have to have a bank account, and then they charge us a fee to send you the money. But here's the problem. Since you're in South Africa and I'm in America, now when I send you money, the Rothschilds have to get paid because they signed a treaty 400 years ago that said any money that crosses international borders has to go through Bank of International Settlements, and they get paid. Like, well, okay, but how about this? How about I take an open, cryptographically secure ledger where now I have a token, a record of title of an asset, Bitcoin or anything else, and I transfer it to you seamlessly, instantaneously, with no fees. We know the transfer happens because the software validates it.
Yeah.
And it's public. We can all verify it. So that system is so antithetical to the current system that they're going to fight. But from 2009 to 15, first they ignore you. Bunch of nerds and geeks playing with your funny magic internet money. Who cares? Then they laugh at you. So 2016 to 21, look at these nerds and geeks playing with their magic internet money. Then they fight you. So right now, probably for the next 5 or 6 years, the banks are going to fight because this is real money, billions of dollars is leaving the traditional financial services world and migrating into crypto. But that disruption, and the reason I'm so bullish about crypto, that disruption is orders of magnitude bigger than the disruption that happened with the internet. Like Bitcoin, at least today, while it's not completely anonymous, isn't surveillance friendly. Every single piece of information that flows goes to the surveillance agent. Okay, good. Bitcoin, they don't have that because it's run in a decentralized way. Now, can they get snippets? Can they back into analysis? Sure. Can they tell which coins are tainted? Sure. But again, it's a conversation for another day because to me, it is the conversation. There's no question that, in my mind, okay, personal opinion, one person couldn't have created Bitcoin.
No.
It's so technologically flawless. I mean, little things like there will never be a 51% attack, which is not possible with current computing. But if it were, there would never be one because the moment you did it, the value would go to zero. But it does, if we look at the series of higher lows over 14 years, the value of the network has increased. And I think it's because of this built-in block reward cycle. So there's lots of things about it that are too elegant for a single person.